one. This one is blue-white flow state control. Um, I've been liking flow state. I've been playing it in a few different decks now. I really liked it in the Teamer Omniscience deck. I liked it in Dimir yesterday, and I've been wanting to play it in like a blue-white shell with Lrien Revealed especially. I don't know if the Teamer deck had flow state and Lrien Revealed, but Lrien Revealed is an awesome enabler for the card, and also Tune the Narrative is an awesome cheap instant to just like power up your Wrath Disguise. And so I kind of decided to go like really just all in on instants and sorceries. And I think also like one thing I kept kind of running into is like if I have 4 Prismatic Ending and I have 4 Wrath Disguise and I have 4 Solitude, it's just like it's too much removal spells. It's too many removal spells. And I decided that you don't really need to play Solitude if you're playing for Wrath, for Prismatic Ending. Wrath is a really poorly designed card. I think it's super well positioned in the metagame right now. And I think just going in like this all instants and sorceries direction is a really good plan for the Wrath Disguise. Is Logic Knot really the best 5th counter? Yeah, I've been playing Logic Knot for 8 years, and the first Logic Knot, and it is so consistently just another counterspell. I've been playing it since before Counterspell was printed, but it's even better than Counterspell in a lot of situations. It's kind of weird, but against stuff like Spell Snare, Surgical Extraction, sometimes it ends up just being better. But yeah, it's just a 5th Counterspell. That's always how you play it. We do have a Kaheera. We do have a Kaheera in the sideboard, so technically we have 1 creature, although it's kind of a fake creature. But I feel like the build is just very simple, very clean. We have 1 Hall of the Storm Giants and 2 Teferi Hero of Dominarias as win conditions. I don't think we really need much else. What's the idea behind the Field of Ruins? Oh, Field of Ruins are just good at the moment. I think that this is also like blue white. I think can struggle right now against Cascades. The land that stops your next spell from being countered. There is like a good bit of Eldrazi at the moment. There is and I kind of think against Eldrazi, if you have 4 Field of Ruin, 4 Consign, you're pretty good against them, and if you don't, you're pretty bad against them. And then it is a nice tool against Titan. It's I think Field of Ruin is just a pretty good card. Yeah, not playing Juan. I think that just being like full no creatures is valuable, and I'm pretty happy with it. Call us when you need blue on 2 seems tricky. I think we have enough blue sources to facilitate it. I agree. We have 24 lands if you count the Lrien Revealed. 6 of them don't tap for blue. That's 18 blue sources, which is consistent blue on turn 2. One nice thing about Flow State and Consult the Star Charts, and using Hall of the Storm Giants as one of your main win conditions, is that you kind of guarantee that you're not going to not be able to find it because you could just dig deep enough for it. I think Solitude seems decent. I obviously I thought about putting the card Solitude in my blue-white control deck. I agree Solitude is decent, and not only that, I'll also say it's like completely stock. It's like completely the stock way to win games in blue-white control. But that being said, I really think that playing 4 Ending, 4 Wrath, and 4 Solitude, it just gives you so much air against a lot of the linear decks that I'm not super happy to just be playing that many removal spells in my main deck. And I've enjoyed this ratio a lot more, which was, I think, maybe even the first thing I mentioned. And that's okay. I'll keep mentioning it. Okay, so probably going to be counterspelling this turn, then going Ending into counterspell. Excited to see how no Flage feels in this matchup. We do have Flow State online for next turn. Also, Teferi giving all your sorceries instant speed is pretty nice in this build, since we have so many sorceries. The guide doesn't do a lot if we can counter like the next thing, so I think I'd rather counter the next thing, and that end up working out pretty well. Ragavan is definitely a problem with no Solitude in the deck, and like most of our removal, or all of our removal, being sorcery speed unless we have Teferi in play. I think I'm gonna go for a Flow State here. Yeah, I think I can afford to grab both of these. Is Logic Knot really the next best counterspell? Yes, it always counters the thing. Or almost always. Results may vary. Although I do think I want to Snare and probably Surveil. Try to find a Wrath Disguise. They do have only 2 cards left in their hand. They may be like close to out of action. I don't think I'd keep a land on top, but if I did draw a land, I could maybe go Teferi, bounce the cat token, hold up Logic Knot, let the guy just kill the Teferi, and then keep moving. But I think I'd probably just bottom a land, even if it's not like the worst draw ever. Yeah, we'll just pass with Consult or Logic Knot up, especially since their hand is probably just 2 removal spells. In this deck particular, I could see No More Lies being 5th Counterspell. I'm a big fan too. Yeah, I think that No More Lies stock obviously went way down with the Flage ban. I'm a huge fan of Logic Knot. Egger was playing 1 March, 2 Pending, this C-Flag Pending. I'm like so all in on Prismatic Ending over March. I'm even like I'd say a pretty big hater of that card, unless there's like a million Urza Sagas in the format, of course. Graveyard like one of the 2 5 fairies is kind of rough. I don't think it's that big a deal. Oh, sorry, I probably should have cycled there. Do you think I'm just gonna grab another island and kick a Consult into their turn? We have 4 Wrath the Skies, and we'll find one of them eventually. Yeah, Logic Knot up the Beanstalk was pretty fun. So we find a Wrath, we find a Flow State also. Pretty good. We could maybe go to Teferi plus and then Wrath. Not quite enough mana to Teferi plus and also Flow State, but I'm pretty soft to Ragavan right now, and I think that this makes me noticeably better against Ragavan. I wonder if they would exile my graveyard because of Flow State here. Sure. So one thing is they have Galvanic Discharge in their hand for sure, so I don't think I want to just let their Galvanic Discharge kill my Teferi. So like while there is some value in waiting on the Wrath and making sure we can untap the clean board, like our Teferi like for sure dies, and they may have 2 Galvanic Discharges. I think of course that's somewhat likely, but I think we'll make them use it if they have it. So they have a Legend of Roku, which hits them a land and an Ocelot Pride, or 2 lands and an Ocelot Pride. Let me bounce a Pride probably, and then kind of decide the best thing to do. That probably means that Teferi's dead to a discharge, and I think that that's okay. Let's draw 3. Keep up with the legend, I guess. And I'm only playing 2 Surveils since we're so low on fetch lands. Probably just gonna cash in the Flow State now for mana efficiency, and then yeah, we'll take the hero. So they have an Ocelot Pride in their hand. They get to make a mana off the Legend of Roku. They are playing a guide. Am I going to Galvanic or force Galvanic Discharge if they have it? It's probably okay to. Tough that they're kind of turning the corner. I do think keeping my spells instance is nice. I actually don't know how they don't have Galvanic Discharge here. I have no idea what's in their hand if they don't have Galvanic Discharge. Could it be like 2 Thraben Charms? It would almost need to be 2 Thraben Charms, right? Does heal make it so you can have a 3rd color for ending? I was kind of thinking that Wrath means I don't need to have 3rd color for ending as bad. Okay, well, this is an awesome pickup. I can go to Teferi and Wrath and kill their legend too. Bolt. Well, would they not bolt Teferi Time Raveler? Maybe they wouldn't. There's a type of Mr. Azorius versus Azorius. How do you which one is right? Which one is right? I guess the one I don't have. Still playing around Ragavan here. How good is the matchup versus Boris Ponza? I think it's probably fine. I don't know exactly how it goes, but I wouldn't be too scared of it. Okay, they can resolve something. Another Legend of Roku, cool. Got a game. They hit a Seasoned Pyromancer, an Ocelot Pride, and a Goblin Bombardment. Thankfully, we have Wrath the Skies. A card that I am, a big kind of hater of, and I think is too efficient, but it also kind of counters the too efficient Boros cards, I guess. Image 3 block constructed. I wonder if Emeritus in the board would be good to surprise people who board out removal. I feel like that dynamic is usually a little like you feel really smart because oh yeah my opponent's gonna board out all the removal, but the amount that actually happens is like pretty small. I do want to try the white Emeritus. Like that is still a card like I would like to cast someday, but um, not today. Yeah, Wrath of Skies is like if it hit all permanents and you didn't need to it's like Terminus if it hit all permanents and you didn't need to miracle it. I will say Wrath got like way better against Boros since Flage was banned. 5 mana is so much mana when you're trying to use Counterspell. Are you talking about Teferi, Hero of Dominaria? Because Teferi Hero plays really well with Counterspell. Because it's kind of like 3 mana, right? You get the mana back. Okay, so we're up a game, and we're kind of main boarded, of course. I'm going to be bringing in my Celestial Purge over a Force of Negation and probably still playing 2 forces. Yeah. Used to have to board in Ghost Vacuum against their deck and don't have to do that anymore. No Emeritus session earlier. Oh, I thought they were mentioned. I thought they were talking about white Emeritus, not blue Emeritus for some reason. Like I think this build is doing pretty good on the card advantage. I don't think we need to like have more card advantage in the sideboard. I agree, especially not 5 mana card advantage. Reveal Kaheera. Gonna keep this on the draw. Evan, good to see you. 7 years and counting. Let's go. Appreciate you being here this whole time. Literally the whole time, huh? Might be really reliant on drawing Tune if they play a 2-drop. We'll see. Could have a Purge. Could hit a Bombardment this turn. Kind of scared of Voice of Victory. Kind of scared of a Johnny. Think I'll hold up the Purge. I didn't hate the idea of just getting a tapped Meticulous Archive. I think we can get one now. Do you think there's a way to build Twin that transforms into this deck when you board up the combo? Is there a way to build it? Sure. I don't know if it's going to be the best way. I guess the Teferi gains me 3 life here. It's probably worth playing. It kind of also costs. I guess maybe it only gains me 1 because I have to play the Fountain. So I don't know. Maybe Teferi Hero of Dominaria is like the sideboard card you could play as your win condition in Twin. That was kind of my issue with the Twin deck for sure. Was that I didn't know what the best transformative plan was, and it felt like you definitely wanted to have a transformative plan with it. My idea thinking was that you would just kind of board into Snapcaster plus Traumatic Critique control plus a couple of wands. It just felt like not enough action post board, but it didn't feel super far off either. Classic survive till turn 4 to try to stabilize against the aggro deck. Opponent not respecting Solitude. I don't know what they did that like didn't play around Solitude, but I'm also not playing Solitude in the deck for what it ends, so good play by them. We might get really punished for getting the archive. We'll see. They've got a guide. They've got a surveil land. They have another spell. It's a 3-drop. It's a Seasoned Pyromancer. We'll see what they were thinking about doing instead. Okay, I don't know what they were thinking about. Let's surveil. Counterspell could be good. Like if I go pending, counterspell their only play, then I go purge this and I have a counterspell for the next thing they do. The problem is that's not good if they have 2 spells this turn, and they're somewhat likely to have 2 spells this turn. Oh, only attack Teferi with 1 cat instead of 2, I see. I think I'm going to Logic Knot this and save the Purge for the Spyro. Also, shout out to the Logic Knot Doubter. I hope potentially we've turned you. Just make sure we still have flow state here. They got 2 cards in their hand. One of them is a Fable, which maybe we'll purge that instead. We don't have that much. We're not very stable here. Maybe I need to just try to Lrien Revealed and find a Wrath. I think that's probably true. Could possibly consult into a Wrath for next turn, although I guess we would be 1 mana / energy short of Wrath X equals 3. Also did the Lightning Bolt. And can't really beat the Boromir. Alright, no outs will go to game 3. Game 3 on the play. Good morning, Spike. I have an idea for you. Wilderness Wreck plus Kozak's Command plus Traumatic Critique. You can't play 3-color plus colorless mana bases. They don't work. Do not function. All right, we'll keep this. We can go maybe ending turn 1 and snare, or ending and snare on turn 2. Opponent's having a think. I think we'll keep a tune. We can tune if we don't end up snaring. What about with the fancy new Marvel lines? There's no way. There's no way you can be Teamer plus K command. Kind of interested in letting that resolve. I think it's hard not to use a snare when there's a snare target available, though. So I think I want to be able to field and get a plains this turn. Can maybe mess with their surveil. They do keep a card on top, so we'll be shuffling that away. Gonna get my plains. A little bit sad I can't just cycle the tune here. So with Force to stop an Ajani flip unless they play another Ajani, I think we'll try to like bait them into committing a little bit more to the board. We are at 20 life. Discard a Ragavan and a Ranger Captain. Definitely nice that we know they're not going to be discarding a Flage here. They have 4 cards in their hand. I think we'll take these 2. Don't have any more card advantage or removal. Likely we'll cycle the Lrien Revealed one 2 in first. I think we just Wrath. And then maybe they'll play like Legend of Roku, Blood Moon Fable. We can like force since it's a fairy possibly. And then maybe they'll play like, yeah, with Ragavan, maybe we'll want to go Time Raveler plus hold up Prismatic Ending. Just kind of depends. Sometimes I try to think a little bit too much about what I'm gonna do based on whatever my opponent does. They have 4 cards in their hand after they hit me with Ragavan. One of the cards is an Ocelot Pride, and they pass the turn. Kind of interested in just going Teferi, Hero Plus, and ending the cat with 4 subs seems likely pretty good. And now I'm also have Counterspell up. Teferi Hero's been feeling pretty good. I played against it the other day, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe we're back. Does kind of feel like we're back. They're also like on a 2-turn clock against the Hall of the Storm Giants if I can draw land. Sure, it's fine. Okay, interesting. My opponent doesn't dash the Ragavan this turn. Another interesting draw. All right, I'm gonna keep this on the play. Boros again. I thought I was free, but like Syphilis, I'm doomed to play against Boros Energy all day, every day. That's fine. We did come pretty prepped for it. I will say, of course, Voice of Victory, pretty tough. Maybe we can consult into a Wrath. Nice. So they play a Ranger Cap. They get an Ocelot Pride. I think waiting a turn and going Wrath with Counterspell up seems correct. Solitude Wear just joining. I'm not playing any Solitudes. Shocking decision, I know. Maybe we're just gonna get got a little too hard by Ranger Captain with this line. Top draw for Counterspell. They have a Voice of Victory in play. Yeah, no, I think we're just sorry. This was maybe just wrong into the Ranger Captain. Tough one. All right, same separate plan. Let's go. I'd appreciate hearing the reason for no Solitudes. Sure. So like the biggest thing is I feel I'm really well covered in my removal for the creatures in the format with 4 Prismatic Ending, 4 main deck Wrath Skies. I think I really want to be playing for hard to mulligan Toon Wrath, but on just one island I have to mulligan. I feel very very well covered. I think I put back second ending. It's a little weird. No, probably Counterspell. Like this deck is very much built around the card Flow State and ensuring that we have a really high density of cheap instants and cheap sorceries. So Flow State is a really powerful 2-mana card advantage and selection spell. Solitude doesn't play with that game plan very well at all, and Solitude is also like so many removal spells against the linear decks in the format too. Solitude is also like, you know, not usually like such a powerful card in a deck like this that's not playing Ephemerate as well. It's like I think it's a fine card to omit and not like a mandatory include. I guess maybe I should surveil first. I was thinking I might just want to like not ending and try to find Wrath. Okay, yeah, that's definitely ending. That was probably a little too desperate. Yeah, it's a good point, Zephoid. Like all your white cards are almost all removal spells anyways. Is Consign for Ranger Trigger 2 linear? Yes. Or linear is maybe not the word, just weak. It's probably the word I'd use. In my opinion, Solitude is subtly better than have 5 Tef. So let's say that you have 2 Solitudes in the 5 mana Teferi slot. Do you think you could win games? I don't know. You have a Hall of the Storm Giants too. You might be able to win games. I think your ability to win games is going to be diminished. Something like Oculus covered with Wrath. I feel really good about the build. I feel really good about playing no creatures. I'm going to be pretty committed to playing no creatures. So yeah, them having Ragavan does mean that like if we find Wrath, it's not even the end of the game, or we're that ahead. We can also flow state into Wrath if we find that, or consult the star charts. Miss. All right, 1/1, both against Boros. Yeah, stings that they just didn't draw a 2-drop. I'm personally not worried about ever clocking with Teferi as a win con. Needs Scepter Chant versus Energy. I don't know that you need it. I think we don't have to lose our minds being 1/1 against the deck. There's no way to have a 100% win rate against Boros. Yeah, you also have Kaheera and Hall of the Storm Giants. I don't think that they're that reliable as win cons though. I'm pretty happy with the Teferi heroes. They've also just been feeling good. So I don't think I want to tune so badly here and like telegraph that I have the Wrath. I might get them to like Unearth and Oculus if I wait. Don't need this. I think I'll keep it anyways. What do you think about Snare versus Stern Scolding? I think Snare is way better. Spell Snare counters Corey Steelcutter. It counters Goryo's Vengeance. It counters Persist. It counters Malevolent Rumble. It counters the Talismans. Counters Counterspell. Stern Scolding, you know, hits Guide and Pride and Solitude, I guess, although we don't care about Solitude. Counters Yawgmoth. Corey Steelcutter is kind of the biggest one, I'd say. Is there a deck you'd want Verdict against? Affinity is a deck I'd want Verdict against, but it doesn't feel like we need extra Affinity hate with 4 main deck Wrath. Let me freeze. Do you feel confident in a paper tournament you can get through with 1 or 0 draws in this build? Yeah, of course. Dude, I've played this many decks like this in paper tournaments. I personally wouldn't have an issue with it. But I understand that it is not something everyone can feel confident in. Okay, I think we get a fountain here. I can get island and I can get plains. Yeah, that's probably fine. Definitely want to sandbag an energy here with another Wrath in my hand. Have I considered Kaheera as a companion? Yes, I've considered it. So they unearth a frog. They play another frog. I've won a RPTQ with only Teferi Hero as a win con. Never really even came close to drawing. Oh, sorry, I spent one too many energy there. All right, another frog. 2 cards in their hand. Try to hit our land drop here. All frogs, huh? Actually, I guess it's the same frog. I think I just minus. Feels good to have the the boys back in town. My opponent didn't concede. Wow. Could have kept the consult over the land. That we have another consult already. I don't think we'll need double counterspell up. I don't think we need to really even be having this conversation. We can't lose. Classic paper opponent wants to go to time. I have played matches like this where like I'll be in this position, I'll be playing fast, and my opponent will have like 1 or 2 cards in their hand, and they'll think for like 10 seconds in these kind of spots. And you can kind of ask them to play faster, and if they're not interested, you can call a judge, which is not something that feels great, but sometimes it's something I've had to do in order to not time out. Just take counterspell flow state. How do we win? Yeah, so the actual answer to that question is Kaheera, Teferi Hero, and Hall of the Storm Giants. Yeah, I had a Steve Vincent end up cutting it. I wanted to prioritize more basics in this format, and I felt that with all of the Wrath Disguise, I kind of had that base covered a little bit better than we might usually. This might be a matchup where we miss the ability to pending X equals 3. I do usually play the Steam Vents. I decided this time, especially like the fields. I just wanted to play more basics, and I wanted to play the third hall. Like we have double blue and double white. It's I don't know. The Steam Vents felt not great. Okay, so we're gonna bring in the ghost vacuums. I think I'd like to play the disputes too. I think I'd like to cut the Force of Negations. I think I'd like to trim a Wrath Disguise. Still play 3 probably. Probably trim a Hero of Dominaria. Shouldn't be breeding to cast Kaheera. It could be one reason to play Steam Vents is that if your opponent has Yavimaya or Urborg, and this is relevant against Yawgmoth sometimes, that Steam Vents will always let you Prismatic Ending, or like you'll always be able to Prismatic Ending for 4, which is relevant against Yawgmoth. It's like so small and so minor, and like you're going to be able to cast Kaheera, but it could be Breeding Pool. I would test this one Raglan Triumph instead of Steam Vents. So I'm a big hater of the Triomes in general. You could play Triome. I have the whole Prismatic Ending thing. Yes, we've played Triomes, we've played Steam Vents, we've played Surveillance for the splash. I'm a big believer that it should be a Steam Vents or a Shockland, because when you need that third color, you need it untapped. You know, I don't think it's a real pain if you have to wait a turn to get that third color. That's why I usually prefer the Shockland. It's hard to mulligan a turn 1 answer to a frog. I think I'll keep this. Yeah, oh yeah, Steam Vents for High Noon also. But I just decided that like I really wasn't liking the off color shock. So they may take my Lrien Revealed. Oh no, they've Thoughtseize themselves because they have Archon of Cruelty. And I guess I'm going to try to survive to Teferi that. So we're going to take 2 Archon hits. I'm going to discard a Wrath Disguise first. Then maybe I'll discard my only Hero of Dominaria and just be resigned to winning with my Hall, which I can do. Too bad we don't have a Spell Snare. Oh yeah, I should take a look at the hand. They do have a frog. Oh wait, they Thoughtseize themselves? And they don't have Persist in their hand? And they didn't take the Oculus to unearth it on turn 2? I gotta pay these actors less. Had to give myself the chance. I don't know that you did, buddy. Actually, stops 0 cards on my deck post board. So do I want to resolve Teferi? It matters if I'll get a Surveil if no. So they're gonna go fetch Surveil. They'll have 6 cards in the deck to play an Oculus. I counter, then they unearth. If they find a land, which I think is and then I Teferi the Oculus back to their hand. I guess we could keep this. We also, if they don't find a land, I could see ourselves a lot of times just going Counterspell, play Field of Ruin, cast Flow State, hold up Counterspell. Thoughts of the road in the archetype? I think I don't feel a strong urge to ever play any copies over Wrath, Prismatic Ending, or Solitude. I'm not even playing Solitude, but I would probably play the 4th Solitude, but before I played the first Erode. So they graveyard an Oculus. They do sack the Vexing Bauble. So they have an unearth target for sure. They decide, I don't need to sack the Bauble. Their hand right now is an unearth and an Oculus. Because they didn't sack the Bauble, they may not be able to cast the first Oculus very well here. We'll see. Looks like they're going to cast the unearth. I'm going to cast Counterspell. So if their hand is a land or a persist, we're in bad shape. And if it's anything else, we should be in pretty good shape. Looks like another unearth. I guess that's similar to a persist. Probably better for them. So they have an Oculus in their hand. So if I'm going to go Teferi, bounce Oculus, they are just going to get to redeploy. So maybe I want to flow state with Counterspell up and try to Wrath X equals 3 next turn. I think it makes a little more sense to try to make them cast 1 Oculus and maybe have 1 stranded in their hand. Does you know what I mean? It's like we need to find a white source, which we're not guaranteed to, although we're somewhat likely to. Not the end of the world if we miss for a turn too, I guess. Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't just Thoughtseize me and cast Frog turn 2. Especially because, like, the Frog could discard the Archon. Listen, you know, I've had, like, brain zaps like that too, especially, I feel like a lot lately. Where I'll just, like, malfunction and I'll Thoughtseize myself in those spots, but it was definitely wrong. Is there a card you used to play in Modern and you kind of miss playing it? That's a long list, I guess. Nothing's immediately coming to mind. Maybe Electrolyze. Are they thinking between 2 creatures here, I wonder? No, they put a persist in the yard. Miss on the land. Let's try to flow state into 1 here and then play Ghost Vacuum. Okay, we find 2 lands. Do I play Ghost Vacuum? Yes. I think I'm okay if I have to Wrath it away. We're, you know, really ahead. And we also do have the option of just, like, Archoning next turn. Like, that could be fine. And then we could Wrath the following turn, potentially. I don't know if that's going to be good enough. Yeah, it's a 1/1 Archon. We get to gain the life off of it. We get to kill a Manifest. So we go take 9 down to 11. And then we go down to 10. Then we Archon. We kill one of the Manifests. Then we take another 9. So that loses to them flipping over another Oculus. They do have an Oculus in their hand also. I guess now that they have flipped this Frog, they are able to exile the Archon in response to the Vacuum. I'll take 8 instead of 9. So they're going to Thoughtseize my Wrath. They tapped Blood Crypt, so they don't have a Counterspell in their hand. There seems to be enough Reanimator living in that Rest in Peace seems like it's good these days. Yeah, I had Rest in Peace in the deck, and I realized that it's not very good with Flow State. I decided to play Ghost Vacuum instead. They may miss the Frog Exile. I hope they don't, though. Yeah, good job. So I guess I can just go maybe bounce Oculus and ending the Frog. They're gonna have 2 Manifest tokens in play. Yeah, seems okay. can see surgical instead of ghost vacuum, so it doesn't get affected by wrath. Yeah, that could be the case. I tend to think like one thing is the thing you mostly want Graveyard Hate against in Modern right now is Reanimator. It's like that and Living In. We have the Living In matchup really covered. So I tend to think if you have that matchup covered, you kind of want something that's more premium against Reanimator, and Ghost Vacuum is like the best against Reanimator there is. But yeah, the issue with Wrath is definitely real. Yeah, the Frog XL makes it harder to cast Oculus, notably. So I'm down to 10. Fun Raveler's dead. They have 2 Oculi and 2 mystery cards in their hand. This looks like they're trying to cast an Oculus, but they're missing a card to exile. They pass the turn. Well, let's go ahead and vacuum up the frog. Another win condition also. Although I will say, like, Rest in Peace is, like, so insane against the Grixis deck. Maybe it is better than Ghost Vacuum. 1 mana versus 2 is also really good. A lot of ins and outs, I guess. It seems okay to keep an ending here. Do we think that they could realistically have a counterspell in their hand? It seems pretty unlikely, but it also seems like it's going to be very difficult to lose this game if I just go Prismatic Ending a Manifest, Prismatic Ending a Manifest, hold up Consult, hold up Counterspell, cycle for a land. I just don't know how I lose. Oh, it was an Archon of Cruelty. I do think I'm going to get an island so I could pay for a Mystical Dispute on my Counterspell. They play Steamens untapped. So they have a Looting. They go black-red. Is this a Emperor of Bones? It's a Meltdown. All right, well, let's go ahead and reduce the quantity of cards in their graveyard by 1. You could run Rest in Peace and set out the flow states. It's just really awkward to have a part of your plan be side out one of your main card advantage spells. You know what I mean? Especially when like flow state is good in these matchups. Yeah, but maybe it's also just fine. I could see just being okay with having the Sorcery Speed Anticipate, which is a card. Like, what is that card called? That's just Sorcery Speed Anticipate. All right, so the hand right now is just two eyeballs. Impulse? No. Oh yes. Well, no, not See the Truth. See the Truth has other text. I mean, See the Truth has that text too. But I think there's also just Sorcery Speed Impulse. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe a Kaheera win this game. Anticipate. Yeah, a Sorcery Speed Anticipate. Maybe that doesn't exist. Maybe it is just See the Truth. Shimmer Possibility. Yeah, it's 4 cards though. Yeah, maybe there's not one. Strategic Planning. So any planning puts cards in the yard. Maybe there is none. Okay, so they scour themselves. Their hand right now is an Oculus and a mystery card. They find a Looting, which would put them 1 card short of playing a new Oculus. Has anybody seen the horror movie Oculus? Pretty good. Yeah, poor Kaheera lost all its friends. They discard an Oculus. Maybe they have Unearth. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a pretty fun horror movie. I saw Backrooms yesterday because a friend of mine wanted to see it for his birthday. And I saw Obsession last Friday in the middle of a dark, stormy night, and Obsession was too scary, dude. It was too scary. think I'm gonna not bother fielding, although I would field here if I was trying to get every percentage point, but we kind of can't lose. It's fine. Really enjoyed backrooms. I didn't like it as much. I thought it was fine. Kind of a fast league so far for blue white control. I guess I'll put the hand hider up too against an opponent who's taken this long. They keep 7 on the play, and obviously we're gonna mulligan, and I'll be keeping my 6. I'm gonna let them sequence their first hand real quick. All right, they got a Thoughtseize. They take the ending. Maybe they've got a frog. They could be playing the Dimir Shadow deck we played yesterday. I don't really know that like Street Wraith Thoughtseize Preordained means almost anything besides the deck that we played yesterday. So it'd be cool to run into that. See if they have something here. Probably would be a good matchup, especially because Wrath kills everything. Maybe a think between Moonshadow and Goyf, although like maybe they just preordained into it, but you'd want to play Moonshadow before cracking the fetch. They do play Goyf. Would be cool to surveil an instant into the yard here. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Flow state. I'll take an ending and another Teferi. Teferi should be pretty good against them. Have I seen the Green Emeritus Primes Chance Lock? Okay, I don't know what Prims is, but I was trying to build Green Emeritus for a little while, and every time I start, I tend to have problems. Tend to have some problems. My opponent does not have Ferocious for Stubborn Denial, so I feel like playing a Teferi this turn is probably a mistake. So I think I'm going to ending the Shadow and then accept a trade of Stubborn Denial for Flow State if they have it. A bit easier sometimes when you build their deck, and sometimes harder. Like when we played against the Humans deck, I'm like, I also don't know how to play against this. Worms Chant. Yeah, I mean, I haven't like seen a deck built with both those. I would be interested because every time I build it, it kind of feels like it's sort of like a worse version of like a deck I've built in the past. Like a worse version of an archetype I don't really think is very interesting anymore. All right, Flow State Mirror. That makes sense. I'll probably end up bouncing the Moonshadow first. Gonna have to draw a Wrath at some point, probably. I guess we'll tap like this so we can tune the narrative. I don't think it matters too much, like, to bounce the Goyf, because they're probably just going to use the Goyf to kill my Teferi, right? And if that's the case, then it's just better to reset the counters on the Moonshadow. Maybe this next turn will minus on the Goyf. Yeah, the Ewit Ephemerate Chant stuff. And like it's possible that the Green Emeritus is better, the stats are a lot better, although being a 3/4 now matters a lot less now that Flage is banned. Another thing about like Ewit Scepter is that, you know, it's kind of like a good bit worse than or sorry, the Ewit Ephemerate Chant is like, it's kind of just worse than Scepter Chant. Oh, they do ignore the Teferi, which I didn't really expect them to do. Maybe I should have expected them to. But it says, oh, hi, Spike. My wife and I watch in the mornings. I drink our coffee. Hell yeah. I guess I need to cycle this tune. Come on, Wrath the Skies. Would I be? I'd take a Prismatic Ending at this point, though. Although we've already used 2. We could. I guess we can't Flow State or Consult into Wrath. Did the collected Conjuring deck not come together? I built it last night and I was 2-1, I think. And not really liking it. So if they have no enablers for Moonshadow, we live. Probably find something. Yeah, there's an enabler. So they're playing Frog in their version. That's interesting. I wonder what they cut for it. We didn't play Frog yesterday. I'm going to play Celestial Purge, and then so Dispute is better against a version with Frog. I really don't want these Force of Negation, so I'll play like at least 2 Disputes. They can also counter their counter spells. Probably gonna go down a hero also. They're really low to the ground over there. I think the Frog build cuts Counterspell. I guess that would make sense. It could be fun. I like the second means instead of 3 fair. Yeah, I thought it was good too. I think we lose the game anyways, but it's definitely a good play. So Vacuum is like, I don't think Vacuum's that good. It's not that good at like shrinking the Goyf. That's kind of all it does, right? I've also seen Frog without Shadow. Yeah, that's what I tested first, was Frogs without Shadow. Our opponent is playing Shadow. I definitely like Shadow too much to cut it. WinCon is Teferi, take stuff to the library. Yeah, we have that. We have 1 Hall of the Storm Giants and 1 Kaheera, which is plenty. I know if we had a Celestial Colony, no one would ask what the WinCon is. You know, the Teferi WinCon, it's slow. It's not that slow, you know. People don't like to sit there with no permanence. And you know, they just play their land. It gets exiled, they pass. Okay, gotta keep this on the play. Our snares are a lot better against them than the other version. I guess maybe not. They just got Counterspell for Frog, maybe. Is Boros Synergy going to be the only top tier aggro deck for the foreseeable future? You know, I get this question a lot somehow. Prowess and Affinity are right there. You know, it's kind of hard to miss them. They're both very viable. Burn is actually a playable deck too. It's not very good, but it is playable. But you know, Affinity, Prowess, Burn are all playable aggro decks. Don't think I'm keeping second Wrath. Might be correct. Yeah, you could play Zoo. I'll say if you were okay, well we got the Wrath anyways. If you're a fan of 5-color humans, I do have a 5-color humans build it's more of like a value combo deck than it is an aggro deck, but it's been pretty good. How does the current builds of Zoo now that Flage is gone? So the last time I played against Zoo, it seemed like they were still playing Doorkeeper Thrall. I mean, they were still playing Doorkeeper Thrall. Maybe they had Null Drifter in their deck or something, but I would not recommend still playing a Doorkeeper Thrall or whatever that's worth. As far as what you should play, I think it's kind of interesting. I think you could play Guide Pride of Johnny. I think you could play the 5/3 Kavu with Trample and Tribal Flames. You could play more Counter Magic. You could play Psychic Frog. You have a lot of options. Some people play Croxa instead of Flage, 1/1 Swamp. Don't know if I like that so much, but you do have a lot of options. You have I think a pretty interesting ability to try to solve it. I'm kind of worried they're just gonna get Island and stub me. I feel like I need to get my planes though. I played Blue White Miracles with Tommy Riddler, went 4-0 versus Grixis, living in Tron Affinity. Sounds fun. No chance we get to snare a frog here. They know about the snare. All right. Lucky me, I guess. Now we can go Wrath plus Flow State next turn, maybe. They know about the second Wrath, right? Yeah, they both got revealed. So do they have another Thoughtseize? They do have another Thoughtseize. And they take the Wrath. So they have 1 card in their hand. I've got 3 in mine. 2 lands and a very helpful Flow State. Okay, well, I guess I'll take the 2 spells, and then we'll try to find a Prismatic Ending here. If we don't, we do find a Wrath. So they've got 2 cards in their hand. I guess I would not dispute a Frog. Maybe their last card's a land somehow, even though they've missed a land drop or 2. And they might be thinking about discarding it to grow the Moon Shadow. Well, great top deck. Great to have the Dispute as my one of my cards here. So what do I think their last card is? I think it might be a land. Obviously now they have a new one. They would have cycled the Wraith, so that must be the card that they drew for turn. They play a 1-mana 8/8. Okay, so it seems like they were worried about playing Moon Shadow last turn. That makes some sense. I think I'm gonna play this tapped and then just consult. And then I think I'm gonna purge the Death Shadow. See what their top deck is. I'm currently winning the race, although the Moon Shadow can get big pretty quick. I do think I just want to cast Kaheera this turn. A card that is legal in Modern. Is it last card a Counterspell? Okay. Literally the difference between winning and lose this game at the moment. Finds another frog, has to chump block the Kaheera, so is going to do that with Moon Shadow instead. I'm not dead to frog plus card draw next turn, so I can afford to surveil. Ding, ding, ding. So I guess we'll bounce the Moon Shadow and make them jump with the frog. Oh, but then I guess we'd be okay if they discarded the Moon Shadow to make it a trade. And they like, I refuse to do that, which is valid. And we go to game 3. How come no one plays Flusterstorm since it's good against Storm and Cascade and against most blue decks? Well, Consign to Memory is similarly good against Cascade. And even has like some extra equity of like consigning the subtlety triggers, ETB triggers, wistfulness triggers, etc. While Flusterstorm is better against Storm, Consign is better in like 10 other matchups. And you know, there's so much going on in Modern, you can't afford to just play infinite 1-mana counter spells in your sideboard. I do think that part of the MH3 design philosophy of we're gonna print a bunch of really broken threats and like 3 broken answers, so like Consign, Wrath the Skies, and Meltdown maybe. Not the best strategy. Okay, on the draw for game 3, I'm gonna keep this hand on the draw. I was warning about it in disputed spot. I don't know what you mean by in dispute spot. Well, dispute is like an anti-affinity sideboard card. It's like anti-affinity, anti-cascade, anti-control, which so it's not and also we have a good Storm matchup already. Like we're not I'm not looking to be better against Storm with this build. Like we already are playing Force of Negation and High Noon and Spell Snare and a bunch of counter spells. We just should be good against them. Oh no, my paid actor. I think I snare. Dispute I think is a bit better in the matchup. Like it counters all the things that snare does, but also can counter stub or dispute. Why is Bubble in their deck still? I don't know. They boarded it in. I currently have no cards in my deck that it interacts with except for their Mishra's Ball. I guess that's not in my deck, but yeah, I have no Solitudes and I have no Force of Negations in at the moment. No Solitudes in the deck at all. We're thinking Force of Despair against Affinity. It's good against Affinity for sure. It's not a card that I have played a lot of, despite it being a little bit of a hot piece of conversation. Like it gets brought up a lot. They're playing May, interesting. Yeah, Vexing Bauble might just be like the cycle of the matchup. Does not have their flow state online. So I guess I should have fielded before the Moon Shadow. I think I'm just going to untap and kick Consults. Okay, I think drawing Counterspell. I'm now supposed to be patient. It's for Septuchant Vexing Bauble. Vexing Bauble doesn't stop Septuchant. Not that that's in my deck either. Not that they know that either. But it doesn't actually stop it, since you could just pay a white mana for kicker. So they didn't have Dispute or Stub in their hand a second ago, so I think I'm going to go Upkeep, Kick, Consult. So I don't give them a window to draw Dispute. Yeah, I'm definitely really liking the fields. I think I just take 2 Consults. What's the win con? 1 Haw, 2 Fairy, 1. Upkeep and not main phase. There's not really a big difference, right? So like if they do somehow have a counterspell for it, with they have 3 mana open on my turn versus 4 mana open on their turn, they're not going to be able to. They're going to be able to use whatever they have to counter my consult anyways. So I might as well make them tap the mana on their turn instead of mine if I'm gonna cast the consult. Is this a mulligan? We have Snare on the draw. We have Toon Wrath. I think it's actually weirdly a keep. They're on a mold to 6. Having Snare on the draw is pretty premium. It's like Snare and Toon. Other Thoughtseize deck. I feel like the Swamp is very Necro coded. They take the Toon. So just trying to maybe mana screw me. Might just be see the true thing with flow state. How's the Necro matchup? I don't know. It's probably fine. I think I do not Spell Snare a Bowmaster. So Necro for sure. Weird game. I might die to this Trawler. If I had known was gonna have another counterspell on top, I would have probably counterspelled the Trawler. They've got 4 cards in their hand. You know, it's interesting that like this week we've played against Mono Black Necro a few times. And I'm under the impression that like Green Black Necro is like a good bit better than Mono Black. Maybe that's wrong. This is a Scepter Days Undoing deck. No, we're really in on flow state in this build, and we're forgoing a lot of the normal blue-white stuff to be in on it. One says misclick badly. Oof, just noticed. Or maybe they're lying and they're pretending like they have basics still in the deck. Probably not. So down to 14. Can't field the basic land. They've got to pause on my upkeep here. If they do resolve Necro, it's just not so bad if I can Wrath X equals 3. I guess I'll take an extra Wrath. Oh, right, I can only take one thing. All right, we'll see if we find a land here. We do find a land. Is it better to hold up Snare, or is it better and Shock hold up Snare? I don't think they have Bowmaster. They would have Bowmastered in response to the tune, so let's just Surveil. And actually keep that on top since they're at 14. Kind of hit the land anyways. So I think they're very likely to resolve the Necro here and put me down to 11. It's not so likely that they could triple Soul Spike me. If they can triple Soul Spike me, we'll lose the game. Oh, they just don't have Necro. Well, sometimes that makes it easier. I guess their hand's just 6 creature removal spells, maybe some Soul Spikes. I guess they could march my Teferi for a bunch. Okay. March X equals 6, and they pitched 2 Fatal Push. This Trawler's dealt me 12 damage. Gonna deal with it next turn. Maybe I should actually hold the Lrien Revealed to draw 3. That's probably fine. Yeah, I decided not to play the off-color shock. It was just performing so badly for me with all the fields and needing double white, double blue, and like I was like not really feeling like I needed it. You definitely can play it. I usually do. I just decided not to today. Might be wrong. All right, with Force up, we should be able to pretty comfortably Lrien Revealed. I think playing one teams is responsible. It just felt so bad with 4 Wrath of the Main, but and I really wanted to play fields. Maybe we could cut the 4th field for Steam Vents. That could be responsible. Yes, I'd like one of those. I think I would play Steam Vents for High Noon over Breeding Pool for Kaheera. It's like almost definitely more relevant. One Triumph, too bad. Yeah, try that land enters tapped, and it doesn't surveil. But also Triumphs, like you don't have the 3rd untapped mana or color when you need it, and that's pretty important too. Soul Spikes me, which I think I'm going to. Yeah, I could Wrath a Shieldred if they have a Shieldred. Yeah, but I don't know why the Necro gamers are going back to mono black. I feel like Witherbloom Charm is so good, Calling Ritual is so good. Some people like Delian Fell. I'm not really one of those people, but maybe it's good. Gab likes it. Thanks, Refrigerator. Appreciate you doing that. Hope you're having a good one. Ending with only 2 colors. Yes, we just got done having a conversation about that, but I had a 3rd color, and with the double white and double blue, I was just really hating it. Good attack here, I guess. Seems fine while we have Force. Could also like we could cut a Field of Ruin for a Steam Vents again if you feel really passionate about it. There just isn't a best or established Necro deck, so people are testing different versions. There's Orzhov Catcher Most Necro. Yeah, I never hated that one, I guess. I will say on the Orzhov build, I was always trying to make Obosh work with that one. Although, have we seen anything from our opponent that you could have? I guess they probably have like Bowmaster in their deck. They have Fel the Profane. Sure, we just have another Teferi. Do we need to tap out? We have force up. It seemed like it was fine. And also, like, hitting Necro for 7 it's pretty good. It's kind of like discard 7 cards. How did the deck do? Did pretty bad with the green black. Kind of frustrated. Spent a long time working on it. I don't know. I don't know. They're not conceding, so maybe they have like a Shielded Edict. So maybe we play Teferi first. All right. So up a game against Necro. I want the Celestial Purge. High Noon is pretty good against the card Necro. High Noon's also pretty good against Thoughtseize sometimes. Like a lot of times they'll wait to like try to Thoughtseize and then resolve something. Although if they're taking my only answer with the Thoughtseize, maybe the High Noon's not good against that. Could also play Vexing Baubles for Soul Spike, and I mean they probably will cut Profane Tutor if they have Profane Tutor. I think I'll play one Vexing Bauble, one High Noon, and only one Ending. A little light on removal. High Noon could almost be a main deck card in the deck. Yeah, I think I would only really main deck High Noon in really specific metagames, although I don't think we're like so far away from a metagame that would want to do that. Okay, my opponent's on a Multi 6. Always love having Force in a 7-card hand against Necro. They play Swamp Go. I think I'll main phase 2 to play around Bowmaster a little bit. Okay, do you have a Dothi? Wasn't sure if they had Dothi in the deck or not. Arayo High Noon. We had Arayo Aethersworn Canonus, which is kind of nice because like Canonus was still like a card you could cast if you didn't have flipped Arayo in play. And you could play it first and then flip Arayo. Watch out for Shadow of Doubts, right? I always feel that this deck plays a lot of them. So I guess maybe I will crack this fetch now. So I could force a Shadow of Doubt. I imagine they're going to take the Force of the Teferi. They may take the 2 in the narrative. They can take the Teferi and try to cast it, but I can, of course, counter it if they do that. Interesting that they chose to attack before casting the Thoughtseize while they had Dothi Voidwalker out. That may have made my turn a bit more of a headache. SOXO, great username with the 23 months. Welcome back. How'd you get my teeth drilled? Oh no. I am liking the deck so far. We may need to find a Wrath Disguise sooner rather than later. Find a Celestial Purge. So probably going to go for the Purge end of turn, take 6 down to 10, and have some time to find an answer for the second Voidwalker. All right, I think I purged Voidwalker now. Again, they don't Thoughtseize first. They could have had Teferi in play, right? I guess they could have counter Teferi, force Teferi. No, but I don't have enough blue cards. What matchups is Purge there for? Boros, Prowess, Domain Zoo are the main ones, and then you run into random stuff like this sometimes. Right, I take Counterspell. I guess we'll just get that down. I don't think I should Kaheera in my hand. I want to have Hardcast Force up for Necro. Got a Bowmaster. Yeah, exactly. They could cast Teferi again after it gets countered. I guess I could force it, but then they could choose. Wait, they play the Necro into the known hardcast force. Oh, and then they're just gonna Voidwalker the counterspell. Sure. Okay, probably gonna go to game 3. Like seeing Dothy Voidwalker. Probably gonna go back in on some extra endings. I think we could concede here to this board. I think I'm probably just gonna get rid of that nonsense. Play 3 endings total. Be on the play. What? Wrath cleans it up? I'm if I draw Wrath, I'm not going to beat the 5 cards in hand almost definitely, right? Like they're going to draw 10 and they're going to have the best of 5. I don't know, maybe we could take a draw step there. It felt like a fine concession. You tried Demir Flow State? Yeah, we did Demir Flow State Shadow deck yesterday that we I'm going to graveyard this because of my Logic Knot. I'll have Flow State online. We 4-1 with it. I liked it. Will Logic Knot I guess I can't Logic Knot a 1-drop very well. Hopefully they played Voidwalker. Nice. May get got by Necro next turn. Let's see what we draw. Draw a Field of Ruin. Looking for a Force of Negation, which we do not find. I guess I'll take the Wrath, which could give me an out to Necro next turn if they have it. Could also be wanting to main phase this because of Bowmaster. We have Wrath in hand, so Bowmaster's not as much of a concern, I guess. They do play it untapped. And they play Thoughtseize. I guess I don't tune. They take the hero. Then they play a Voidwalker. Four cards in their hand. They know I have the Wrath Disguise, so I don't think I'm going to be really benefited from holding onto this. I think I'll just go ahead and cash it in. It's good to have Field of Ruin for the castle. It's bad to be a little flooded. They have 5 cards in their hand. They're playing something. It's a Necro. Okay. They don't play a land, so if it's between Surveil and Field of Ruin next turn, we'll probably end up surveilling. Yeah, let's do that, and let's, I guess, put Kaheera into my hand too. Save me, Kaheera. If we can hit them a couple times with Kaheera, you know, can be a difference between getting Necroed and not getting Necroed. They do have 4 spells in their hand. They drew this Boggart Bog for turn, and it seems like they found a Shieldred. Which is not going to be the easiest to deal with, I guess. Although that can do the job. Although I have to tap out a Spell Snare. We'll see how relevant that ends up being. They do still have 3 spells in their hand, and they have Castle, although they're going to take a lot of damage off Castle. Four cards in their hand. They pass the turn with Castle up. And I draw Consult the Start charts. So seems like we're just easy field consulting and holding up Snare. If they take, are they going to take 5 damage to Castle here? No, they Bowmaster. Yeah, the Hall of the Storm Giants is also like, I wouldn't say countering their Necro, but it does make Necro really, really annoying that they have to like for sure take 7 if they tap out for it. They it's almost just like not doing anything. I'd be shocked if they have 2 Bowmasters in their hand. Like there was like I think wasn't there a moment to deploy it, or like my opponent says you're drawing the cards you need. Oh boy am I. Classic Thoughtseize gaming. Like, oh, I just saw the hand. You didn't have that. I think we'll take Flow State. Or no, Counterspell Teferi is just a little too good. Even if they have like a March for it, they're gonna have to use a lot of cards. Or not, I guess not a lot of cards, just one card. But I could Counterspell too. Spike does have legendary luck sometimes, I think. I mean, sometimes, sure. I play a lot to have it sometimes. Definitely have it this game. Definitely have it this game. Maybe I should have grabbed Flow State. Like it was maybe it was just too clear they had removal in their hand. Probably gonna win this one. Okay. I think Flow State compares to stock up. I think that it's like almost clearly much better. I think I'm just gonna purge the Bowmaster. Right? Like I would also pose that question to anybody who watched the league, but I feel like it's like been clearly a lot better. Like the difference between 2 and 3 is huge. It's almost always online. Um I think it's like so good. Yeah, I may play this in the challenge tomorrow. As far as changes, I'm not really sure. I could see playing maybe the first Solitude over the second Teferi hero. I like the second Teferi hero. We lost to Boros Synergy and we beat Boros Synergy. I think it's, okay to just like have a draw that doesn't line up super well against them sometimes. I think I'd probably cut the fourth field for Esteem Vents. I got a question. For years, I've noticed this. When you have Teferi, untap 2 lands, you'll pick Fountain Island instead of 2 of the same lands. Is there a reason? Yeah.